different sets of headphones. Let's see if this actually cuts the right way. It did. Awesome. Everything's working correctly. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gird, Loins. It takes us forever to get together so that we can actually record something. And it is hot. It's really hot.
Oh, I just did that.
Why'd you do that? Now you're super short. It is so hot. That's why I've got the guns out today. Because I just couldn't see wearing
It is abnormally hot
full
today.
t-shirt today. And it's like another 7-day heat wave. We've just had like no rain at all. We had that one storm.
Overnight storm.
Yep, a couple days ago, and then it's just been no rain at all. It's like Elijah, or was it Elisha? Who was the one that caused the drought? It's Elijah.
God
It's
did
gotta
that.
be Elijah.
God did that on
Well,
purpose.
God did, yes,
He
obviously.
made it hard on purpose.
Yeah, but man, it killed my garden, and yeah, I've been gardening. Gardening's my thing now. I'm a farmer. I'm officially a farmer. Well, not officially. When do you become like officially a farmer? If you're farming,
I think you are.
cause like that's the funny thing. Cause you were talking about earlier today about seminary or like, then you're like officially a pastor. Like, how do you officially become a farmer? Because the government does have their criteria for what's considered a farm.
Oh, I did. I
But
sent
when
you
do you
the
consider a
Amish
farmer?
guy that got arrested
Well, that was terrible.
because he wasn't following their guidelines, even though his farm
Yeah.
predates their
Yep.
guidelines.
Yep. And yeah, there's other fellas that I know that are kind of skirting government attention in their farming endeavors, which is fantastic because I don't really see what that's got to do with the government at all. What business of it is theirs, But they're just trying to like clamp down on everybody.
The
So-
IRS is like, you're making money.
Yeah. How dare you?
$601.
That meme guy is like,
Hand it back.
"Where's my money?" But yeah, the divine right of kings. Give me my money. But there's like the Netherlands. The farmers in the Netherlands are revolting, and then what else has been going on? The Trump raids.
Oh yeah, the Mar-a-Lago thing.
Man, I don't know.
The very specific entire presidency raid.
Yeah. Like the whole time he was president, they were practically like just
We
investigating.
know
him
exactly what
nonstop.
papers we want. It's everything.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter that he can classify anything he wants anytime he wants, So like, how does he have anything illegally? Just it's declassified. I said so.
I love when they were saying that he was trying to sell nuclear codes to people because that doesn't make any sense because those get changed
they
like
get changed? Yeah.
constantly. Like not even just from president to president.
Listen.
Like, all the time.
If Trump did sell somebody used nuclear codes, he's an even better salesman than I thought he was. Okay? That man could sell ice to an Eskimo if he can sell nuclear codes to people.
He could sell fire.
I gotta-
He could sell fire to Satan.
Yeah, I got a bridge in Brooklyn that I could tell you. Oh man. But it is hot. So we've got hats. I've always got a hat on, but I've got a hat.
I normally do, but
I don't know if y'all can see my hat. My hat's from Bucky's. And Noah, of course, everything that he wears is usually poking somebody in the eye.
unless it's my Doge Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, well, everybody thinks that's great. Somehow the Doge dog gets away with whatever he wants to do because he's just so cute.
I got stopped in the street once by like a boomer, and she was, "Where did you get that?" And I looked at her, and I was so weirded out by the fact that someone was stopping me asking about where I got my shirt.
Did she just want it because she had that dog?
Because it had Doge on it, and she was like, "What? Where did you get that Doge shirt?" And I was so weirded out by the fact that one, a boomer knew that it was called Doge.
Right.
And then two, the fact that someone was stopping me and asking me where I got my shirt, that I was like, the internet.
Yeah.
That's all I said.
I
I was like, just search Doge Hawaiian shirt, you'll find it. Like, I mean,
Amazon.
It was,
It's like,
that's literally where I got it. Was
anybody
Amazon,
asks me where I got anything, first I have to hang my head low, like Amazon.
Unfortunately, that is where I
Sorry.
got that.
Sorry, but hey, I mean the guy built the best distribution system on planet Earth. I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah.
He kind of won. He kind of won when distribution is involved. So I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and the names and details of which will be kept secret, just in case
To protect the
to
innocent.
protect the innocent. Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. Anyway, anybody listening to this knows who I am. They probably knows who I'm talking about. Anyway, but we were having a good long conversation about campus ministry and someone that worked with the ministry leading Bible studies that had guys and girls in it. And it's like, now, like, you're probably patriarchal. I'm patriarchal. I've given up. I used to think that complementarianism was like,
It meant something?
that was
Like
like
the word meant anything?
I thought that was it. I thought that was the highest standard that you could have. I didn't even know there was a Christian patriarchy that was anything. So like,
Edge alert. Catch yourself on all that edge being a
yeah.
complementarian.
Well, but yeah, I didn't know. I always was patriarchal. I just thought that was complementarianism. I didn't know. I had no clue. I was just always patriarchal. I just thought whatever I believed, that was complementarianism. We have so many isms.
It's effeminate to use all those fancy terms.
So, is there a patriarchyism? What would that be called?
It's just patriarchism.
Patriarchal.
Right.
So, anyway, he's probably more of that mindset as well. And so it's like, well, the question was like, what do you do in that situation? You've got a young lady that's, a missionary, she's there to share the gospel with people and ultimately, mentor young college ladies. But the question was, what to do about that? Is that God honoring for her to be in that situation, leading a Bible study with men in it? So that was the question he was asking me. And I kind of thought it was a bit stickier of a situation than just flat out saying, well, no, she shouldn't lead guys in a Bible study. And the reason I thought that was because on a campus, they're kind of existing in a gray zone, or hate to use the word transition in this day and age, but in a transitionary period where it's like, is this a boy who's still really able to be taught by older women, or is this a man where that's now inappropriate? And the reason I think it's kind of that gray area in college, at least, is because in a lot of ways, these guys are still living under their parents, cared for by the parents, things like that. But they haven't taken on the responsibilities of manhood yet. So in some cases they have, and in other cases they probably haven't. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Where would you go with that, and what would be the advice you would give?
It's interesting. I don't want to out myself, although it's my last semester, so I don't really care. But I've intentionally avoided women professors.
Right.
Not because I think women can't teach. It's not at all because of that in the slightest.
My first reaction was, that's a very loving thing for you to have done. I'm not even joking. Like, that
I've avoided other professors too, but
well, yeah, for different
that are
reasons
men,
entirely. Yeah,
but
right.
But I've avoided women professors just because I didn't want to be. I mean, it's similarly to the reasons I've avoided other ones because I didn't want to be angry at them.
True.
Because I've had a few I mean, when I was involved with the local crew thing, there were a few times where I was angry at the women that were teaching, and it wasn't necessarily their fault. it was them just spouting off whatever they had been told before.
Sure, yeah.
And and not having the discernment or the ability to discern that what they were saying wasn't necessarily helpful or just whatever. But I don't know. Another thing is that it's a really interesting point about them not being in that transition between boyhood and manhood.
Yeah.
Because that makes things a lot harder. Because you do have people in college that are absolutely at the point where they are a man now. And you have other people in college that are not only, like myself, still living with my parents, but everything is under the parents' bill. Like the college is being paid for by their parents. Their car is owned by their parents. Their gasoline is paid for by their parents. The fact that they can eat is by their parents, so they don't have anything that's really paid for by themselves. Like they're not even working at the college to make their own spending money, like that kind of thing. I don't know.
So the reason I bring that, I don't really want to talk about that situation the whole time because that's all going to pan out however they decide. But I think that poses a good question for us to talk about. Is that what is a man? So Matt Walsh did his whole thing. What is a woman? And he talked to a bunch of crazy people about their ideas about what a woman is.
Which I still haven't been able to see.
Oh, you should totally watch it.
I haven't been able to watch it.
It's hilarious. It's not entirely eye opening to us. We've seen crazy people before, but the question's important. Even though the question is really silly for normal people who are just like, well, a woman is biologically female. They're synonymous. They mean the same thing, But there is But if you're going to talk about the distinction of what is a girl, what is a woman, right? So now you have to distinguish a little bit because now you've added that adult descriptor,
right?
And then I think for us, it's like, well, what's a boy? What's a man? When does a boy become a man? When do people consider that boy to be a man? And I don't think it's as easy as just saying, well, when they're 18. Like, who determined that? Like, what criteria is that? Well, you made 18.
Government
yeah. The government said you made 18 trips around the sun. Now you're eligible to die for us.
But not drink.
But not drink, not do all these other things. So
Or
even the government and insurance companies recognize that arbitrary number really doesn't mean a whole lot. But there was a book that I should have written down. It was called...
Is it It's Good to Be a Man?
No, it's not. It's Good to Be a Man.
Because that's a great book.
Did you read it?
I listened to it. I listened to it on Canon Plus.
Oh, you listened to it? Oh, okay.
It's fantastic. I recommended it to my brother the day he got engaged. I was like, you need to listen to this.
It was like Boy's Passage, Man's Journey.
Something I saw recently that I think is interesting is that we don't have the way that we cultures used to, like, the Jews have the bar mitzvah when
Right.
a boy becomes a man.
Yeah.
The Romans had a similar thing.
Yeah.
We just don't have that
And
at
that's
all.
what this book was. So it's A Boy's Passage, Man's Journey by Brian D. Molitor. And I read, I read like half of it, and but it
I read the back.
yeah, I read the dust cover.
I read the title.
I had an 8-hour flight, so I got through quite a bit of it. All right, so I did pretty well with that one. But Boy's Passage, Man's Journey, and he does talk a lot about different cultures and how those rituals that those cultures have with the other men of the community. Essentially, the young man has to do something. There's some kind of ceremony or something, and we're not all that big on those kinds of things in America. And from that moment on, now the men would now be treating that young boy like, okay, now you are a young man. Now we're going to refer to you as a man, and now you have responsibilities that a man has, and we don't really do a whole lot of that. In fact, I think a lot of American men struggle with just, you even hear it from people in their 50s or 60s. It's like, I still feel like a kid. Like, I don't even know when I grew up. Like, when did it happen? You know, just kind of like in this never-ending gray zone of, well, I was a boy, and then at some point, I guess I became a man at some point. I don't really know which event it was that happened, but, you know, and to me, it's like, as I was thinking about this issue at the college, it's like, what did we first start talking about? It's like, well, are you paying for yourself? Are you responsible for yourself? You know, do you have anybody else that you're responsible for? Like, those are all the things that I'm thinking of. It's like, well, you know, I have kids. I have a wife and a house and a job and responsibilities and things that I need to do, and sacrifices that I have to make. You know, those things, I feel like if I know that a person's got a wife and kids and an established home, I treat that man like a man, you know. And then there's other guys that just through their own maturity or intellect or whatever, it's like, okay, well, like I'm still talking to a man here. You know, this is a mature individual, or because like in a lot of ways, like yourself, it's like you're on that journey to marriage and, you know, finding employment and, you know all those things. It's like, but you're pointing in that direction, you know, so you can see
aimed.
The aim is pointing toward that in a much more serious way than like a 15-year-old boy would be pointing in that direction. Does that make sense?
More than me at 18.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Me at 18, depressed, not knowing why.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that there's a lot of that in that, you know, teenage years to 24, 25 range, where guys don't really understand where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be doing, and how they fit into the world. Because if they don't feel like a man, then, and nobody else has told them, hey, you're a man now, let's get moving here. You know, you've got responsibilities. Then they're really not going to take up that mantle. One thing I had suggested to this guy was that if a guy, through the course of the study, becomes convicted that he's maybe shouldn't be under the tutelage of a female, well, then that's the perfect time for him not to be.
Yeah.
You know? So like if you're sitting there and you're kind of like curious and you're not really sure about this gospel thing, and you're not really sure about this Christianity thing, and you're really just kind of messing around at school and having fun, and you're really like kind of in the study just to pick up girls, possibly. Well, I wouldn't consider you a man, I either. So, you're fine. You're probably fine there. I don't like the fact that you're there just to pick up girls, but but
Probably wreaking havoc
right.
because of it, but
Yeah, yeah. So, well, that's another good point. Yeah. That
the kind of guy who's like, I'm gonna pick up 15 chairs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
And
hey.
not pay attention during the.
That works.
It does, unfortunately.
Oh man. But it's probably a weird situation for college ministry people to deal with, where it's like there's this zone where you're not really quite sure what to do with it. I mean, ideally, it's like, what's the ideal?
I mean, the ideal is that they would already be taking responsibility not only for themselves, but looking for someone else to take responsibility for.
Right, right. No, I don't mean on their end. I mean, like, if
Oh, you mean who's teaching?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, the ideal would be that a man is teaching
Yeah,
and not a woman
right.
for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's yeah, I think it's hard to go wrong with that. We've always had that issue with
At least it's a lot harder to go wrong.
Sure, yeah, well,
Because you're not, like, initially kind of wrong in the first place.
right, right, yeah. Yeah, you're not quite sure what to do with it, and that's that's kind of what brings up the question entirely. Yeah, so it's a lot to think of. But so what kind of things do you think a young guy ought to be, or what are the building blocks you think that go into constructing a fully fledged man, a fully formed, fully fledged man?
A goal, first and foremost. I mean, I started dating my fiance, who's about to be my wife in December. In 2016, when I had no goal, and I don't know why she started dating me when I had no goal. There was absolutely no reason for her to be dating me, aside from the fact that she liked long hair and I had long hair. That was it. I had no purpose.
Full
in life.
disclosure, I advised her against it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I
right.
did.
You should have. I mean, but like I had no I had no purpose in life, and around late 2017, somewhere in 2018, I think it was 2018, I just had an existential crisis, and I had a purpose all of a sudden, and I started pursuing that purpose. And depression went away, all sorts of things that I was like, oh my gosh, I thought, well, I cut my hair in 2019, but I cut my hair in 2019 because I was reading 1 Corinthians, and I went, you know what? I'm going to err on the safe side of this. I don't know whether this is cultural or not, but since Paul ties this to the creation, I don't know if it's safe for me to say, that's cultural. But, just a purpose, God created Adam in the garden and gave him a task. He told him, guard the garden, cultivate it, fill the earth, have dominion, go. And then he brought Eve into existence to help that.
Yeah.
Adam, his purpose in the fact that he was created was before Eve or anything was he had a goal.
Right.
And Eve was brought along to help it. So, even just in terms of like what I was just saying about like I don't know why my fiance started dating me in the first place. I didn't have any goal in my life. And I think there's something in men that a goal is requisite before you if you don't have a goal, you're gonna feel depressed as a man because you feel like you're not doing anything. Because you aren't, and you're just sitting around doing things that aren't connected to achieving anything.
Right.
And once I started focusing on something and things that I did were to achieve a purpose, it seems like, I mean, all of a sudden, the girl that I'm dating is more attracted to me in a way that's biblical because she's designed as a woman to help achieve a goal that a man is already trying to achieve. And I mean, a goal I think is first and foremost, you have to have an end before you can have a beginning. There's something you need to be aimed at before you can, like, at which you're supposed to aim before you can start to aim.
Yep.
So
I think another thing that that plays into differentiating a boy from a man is sacrifice and selflessness, which is the thing that I've done men's Bible studies for years, and selflessness is the thing that men struggle with the most.
yeah.
So, which in some ways, part of our whole day is dedicated to selflessness. There's just something internally wired into a man that has a family and a wife that, like, there's going to be just a certain amount of time dedicated to selflessness. But you reach a threshold at some point, and then it's like, I'm done being selfless now. I want everything for me, and you don't really get that.
Video game time.
Yeah. But you don't really get that, and the amount of time that boys spend on selflessness is practically zero. And a man waking up every morning and till he puts his butt on the couch at some point during the night, if he's thinking correctly about his time during that day, that's really sacrifice that he's making for his family, working and providing. But what ends up happening is that after all that, it's like, well, now it's me time. Now I want to, now
Right.
I don't want to do any more sacrificing and serving and teaching and raising and anything like that. I just want to do what I want to do. I think for women, especially in Christian homes, are more internally wired toward that nurturing kind of helping, like you were just saying, like just helping, and that seems more overtly sacrificial, in the home. It really, it's all like selflessness, the things that really make everything work in a family or in a community. It's like, obviously, if you're only thinking about yourself and you're just selfish, you're not really thinking about the family, the town, the tribe, the church, any of those things fall apart if everybody's just being completely selfless. But if you've ever dealt with just really like desperate people with like broken relationships and single moms and guys that are like that have knocked them up or whatever and have 3 kids with 3 different women and stuff, I have often told them, it's like they're all concerned about these guys that are in their life, and it's like, this guy, he might be big, he might be scary, he might rant and rave, and he might brag about how many women he slept with, he might have like a fancy car, whatever it is that he did to attract you. This guy's a boy. Like, he's a little boy. He does little boy things, and I've told women that before, and they almost are like, yeah, wait a minute, like, he is like a little boy. I was like, he is a little boy.
He's not like he is.
Yeah, it's like
He's just an adult little boy.
Yeah, and so I was like, he's not like me. Like, I don't do those things. Like, I behave like a man. I do manly things, and like manly things are like controlling my temper. Okay, honoring my wife by not sleeping around with women. Like, not, oh, who's in my DMs today? Like, not acting like that. Like, I don't do those things because that's not what a man does. I do, those are things that a little boy would do. That's how I acted before I met my wife. I was, boyishly, throwing myself around there and doing sinful things, like chasing after like really silly things, chasing after my own pleasures. Like, those are boy activities. And for a lot of those guys, like, they just haven't grown up into men at all, and there's nobody telling them at all how to be men, or that those things, like even just something like controlling your anger, that you ought to control your anger, like a man ought to have control over his anger, when everything else about other boys are telling them, no, you just give full vent to your anger. I think there's a proverb about that, right? It's like a fool gives, vent to his anger. Just like,
Right.
just lash out at people. Just do whatever you want. Don't let anybody talk down to you, or don't let anybody dishonor you, or any kind of silly thing of like, you don't have any honor to begin with. Like, what have you ever accomplished that somebody can't say something about you? Like, who do you think you are? But these guys flip out, or just like right now on the reels and Instagram and stuff like that. It's like, what's your body count? What's your? It's like, that's like a little boy thinks like that. Like a kid thinks that way. That's not somebody who's taken on responsibilities and burdens of a family and become a man. It's like saccharine. It's just frivolous nonsense, and it's the other side of the manosphere. I think, because I think for you and I, it's like you're just talking about. It's good to be a man. You got guys like Michael Foster out there, who are one side of the manosphere, at least in the Christian realm, who are kind of. I don't know if he would call himself patriarchal. I think he would.
He did.
He did.
They
Okay.
did in that book constantly.
Okay, great. Then the Christianized version of what makes a man is like the best form of a man, right? That's the sanctified, holy, version of a man, and then on the other side, on like the least of it, is those guys that are like,
MGTOWs.
what's that?
MGTOWs.
MGTOWs? What's a MGTOW?
MGTOW? Men going their own way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's an entirely different reaction, I think, than
Well,
than
those are the people that are like, we need to be men, but they're also like, women suck.
Right. Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. They just trash women altogether. Like they don't have any. Yeah, I've seen guys, the way they talk about women is like disgusting. Although I'm sure there's probably a lot of women, if they even saw this, they'd be like, the way you guys are talking about women is disgusting. You think I'm just
You
here
think
to help you?
patriarchy's
Yeah.
good?
You think the patriarchy's good? It's like
Yes, the same way
Yeah.
that sex is good as long
Yeah.
as it's within God's.
Right, yeah. And yeah, exactly. The patriarchy is there to like protect and honor, glorify women, and like adorn their brides, and like like really cherish the woman in their life.
The gospel is patriarchy
Yeah, right.
because the church submits to Christ.
Right. Yep.
So,
Yeah. And then on the other side, you got what was it, the MGTOWs, men going their own way,
yeah. MGTOW, MGTOW.
Yeah.
MGTOW.
something like that. And they treat women like they're complete garbage, like they're not worth anything. They all lie.
They eschew dating in MGTOW.
Yeah. Oh, really? Just like all together.
MGTOW is full on like, I don't want anything to do with women. if incel means involuntarily celibate, they are voluntarily celibate. They're like, I don't want anything to do with
Oh,
women.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
the MGTOW far end of the
Gotcha.
thing. The other, I guess not quite that far is the manosphere people that are like pickup artist nonsense.
I was just gonna mention it. Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Andrew Tate people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I've seen some Andrew Tate stuff, and he just got canceled hard too.
He got canceled because he said a thing about getting a private jet during COVID, which is what's funny to me. Is he got canceled because
That's what he said that he got canceled.
he got
for?
canceled
Okay.
because he said that he was that he had flown commercial and had to wear a mask and was upset about it, so he just got a private jet because he could afford to, and no one was wearing a mask, and that COVID was a thing for the poor and not for the rich. That's what he got canceled for.
Wow.
It was not for his comments about, hey, you should tell your girlfriend that you cheated on her because it'll make you or make her want you more. Not like whether or not you did or not. You should just lie to her.
Right,
about it.
right.
Like that kind of stuff isn't what got him canceled.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and it's funny because like I feel like a guy like him, like he hits on on certain things, and I guess it's like it's a reaction to he's kind of like feeding off those MGTOW guys that like there's all this angst and animosity toward women because they felt like they've been dealt like a raw deal, and then here comes this guy who apparently has had any woman that he wants and has money or whatever, kind of just feeding into them. Was like, yeah, you're right, I've been with all these women and they're all exactly the way you think they are, just like confirm everything that you thought about it. But he would really benefit from a guy like Michael Foster.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, Michael Foster, I don't know if it was Michael Foster who wrote it or if it was the other author of the book, because there's two. It was the other guy's name is Dominic something that I can't remember.
He's like the third tenor.
Right. Yeah. He like doesn't do any interviews, and his name is
Pavarotti, Domingo, and
his name is Dominic,
the other guy.
His name is Dominic, and then it's something, but like he doesn't go by Dominic. He goes by the something that I cannot remember for the life of me. But both of them wrote that the problem with MGTOWs is that when you talk to them, if you ask them, is the problem generational? They'll say yes. And then you say, so you're not going to have any kids? And they go, yes. And it's like...
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
The problem is you need to find a woman and have kids.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. It's really hard to find a woman that has similar values to you. But you need to do it.
It seems brutally hard. I thought it was hard. I thought it was hard when I was your age. And I can't believe how difficult it is for guys to find anybody. I would have thought it would have gotten easier. I remember...
I can't believe that it's even possible. Like, I don't know how I found Jenna, because I think she's more... If someone were to ever accuse me of hating women, I would point them to her, because she hates women a lot more than I do.
My wife's not very keen on a lot of women either.
She straight up says she hates women, but it's, and I don't hate women, but it's, in fact, I love them very much, but
and you love them so much you won't even take their classes.
Right, but I can't hate women. I'm marrying one.
Yeah, right.
But, I have one woman friend, but I don't even know what I was saying now. But I don't know.
Did you lose it?
Yeah, I completely lost my train of thought.
We're talking about meeting women. In today's day and age.
Yeah, like the school I'm at, there's a few women where it's like, this woman would be a good person for someone I know to start dating. But I don't want to start going, hey, you should try and date that woman. But at the same time, I kind of do.
I think you have to.
Because there's so many other women at the school I'm at that I go, no man is going to want, like, no actual man who has any purpose in his life is going to want to date, like, is going to want to marry you, because you're not going to help him achieve his goals in life.
I know some girls older than you, entirely eligible, and it's like, TikTok, like, what are you doing? You know, you're gonna, it's like you can see the writing on the wall, and it's like, I know that you've had guys who have been decent fellows pursue you, and it didn't go anywhere, and time's running out, it's getting short, you know, so like, what's holding you up? And especially for Christian women, it's like, what are you doing? You're gonna blow your chance. For
It's the
men,
Gospel Coalition's fault.
yeah, right, yeah.
Singleness is a gift.
Oh my goodness, yeah, no.
Apparently, it's not an affliction.
Yeah, but just like you said, there's this need for children. I don't think people realize how desperate it is right now, especially in the West. And it's not like we didn't have any warnings. We had Japan as a warning. We could see everything that was going on in Japan, and everything that was happening in Japan was like 20 years ahead of what was going on over here. And it was obvious because technologically it seemed like they were 20 years ahead of us. You know what I mean? Like, for a while.
They still are.
Yeah, and they're even like entirely racially homogenous. Like, we don't even have any, like, they don't even have that to like, oh,
they're like
well,
actually racist.
Oh, it's like other people are telling us not to get married. There's like Japanese replacement theory going on in Japan. Like, no, there's not. There's no Japanese replacement theory going on. They're just addicted to porn and video games. That's their whole thing.
I think that's our fault as the United States.
It could be, yeah.
Because, don't look this up if you're...
It's probably Baptist's fault.
Yes, Trappists. Are Trappists gay? But, the answer is yes. But this is a
just to clarify for everybody, I don't really think that.
I don't know if we should,
and neither does Noah.
I don't know if we should clarify. It's funny. But
You'd have to know what we're talking about.
Also, I said Trappists, not Baptists.
Right.
But, we dropped that bomb on them, and then like right around the time that they were coming back to functioning, hentai became a thing.
Yeah.
I think that was our fault.
Maybe.
I think the radiation messed with them.
From people I know that have been to Japan, the big problem that they were seeing in the dating scene in Japan was that the girls were all attracted to. The girls were saying that they were attracted to what I would describe as like the K-pop boys. Right. Obviously, that's a Korean thing, but
the effeminate.
The effeminate, skinny,
purse carrying,
squirrely. Well, not entirely gay. Just very effeminate looking, done up, perfect hair, like the boy band looking guy. But at the same time, we're expecting them to act like their fathers, who were very, like, you know, 2 generations removed from a samurai, you know. So, like, you know, very deep voice, very, very, like, demanding, very, very much patriarchal. And so these guys are, like, they're confused. Like, they don't understand what it is that they want. It's like, well, you want me to look this way, but then you won't date me, or you won't get married because you want to date guys that look like me and act like me, but you only want to marry guys that act like your father. But there aren't any guys that act like your father, because guys that act like your father, you won't date them, you know. So there's just like this whole, which I guess in a sense I kind of understood that when I was dating that it dawned on me that it was like, wait a minute, this nice guy routine is not working at all. Okay? I need to change my tactic here, and I just need to be a complete jerk. And in my, and like be kind of like a little bit edgy and mean, where I got to stop like white knighting. That wasn't a term back then, but like I got to stop with like the whole wounded puppy dog routine and everything. I got to stop that. And my wife will tell you is like she, out of the group of friends that I was with, even if we found her diary. You know, she's writing. She's like, you know, like the most attractive guy is Bret, but he's kind of a jerk. You know, so like it was enough to make me stand out. Like she recognized that I was a jerk, but she was also kind of attracted to me because I was a jerk. You know, now joke was on her. I actually wasn't a jerk. I was just pretending to be. You know, so which is the.
I know students from Riverstone that would still say they don't like you because when you taught Sunday school, they thought you were a jerk.
Yeah.
And
Good.
I was like, he's not. You just
Good.
got to talk to him after Sunday school. Like,
well, I'm glad they think that. So, grow up.
look, he's mean.
I was intentionally mean. I was preparing
and
you
the
all for
meanness
life.
was, why are you acting like a child?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know.
And it's like, I mean, I know you're a child, but stop.
Yeah.
And they were like, how could he? My heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Those Sunday school days were great. The what was that when I was teaching the senior high class or the?
The people I know that would say that would be the entire time that you were a Sunday school teacher that I had. So
Like I taught like 4th and 5th grade.
I came to, well, it was Bible fellowship, but when I went there, it was 2008, and so probably 2009, which would mean I was 11. So not quite junior high. Still downstairs in the building.
Yeah, so that would have been 4th and 5th grade.
Right, 4th and 5th
Yep.
grade, and then
Yeah, I taught 4th and 5th grade for a long time.
right, that was the first.
That was my
yeah,
class.
and that's the people that I know that were in that are still some people that would be like, Bert was mean, and I was like, cool, like, and like,
Good.
grow up.
Yeah, that's all right. I loved all you guys. Try to give you some Bible, but yeah, it's a weird place right now where you've got all these opportunities to meet people. Like, social media has just like opened up everything to actually have interactions with people, but at the same time, it sounds so cliche. It's like everybody's so connected and everybody's so isolated at the same time. But because of the social media, it's like everybody's got this mass psychosis on top, especially the girls, you know, and so the guys have no idea how to navigate all that. The guys that do know how to navigate that, they're not any good for you. You know, they're the ones that are, you know, those are like the sharks. They're just swimming around in this sea. And they've kind of figured it all out. Like they know how to play the games with you, and they know how to get what they want out of you. I'm talking to the girls now, but like the guys that aren't interested.
The one girl.
Yeah, the one girl.
Listening.
The guys that are not the sharks. They're not interested in playing all those games. They're not interested in acting like the guy that's a shark that's just trying to take advantage of somebody. Back, you know, when I was dating, it was a lot easier to pretend to be a shark. You could do that. Like I did it. You know, I could pretend you're like this some kind of playboy or player or something like that, and you could get attention from women, and then flip the script on them. It's like, hey, I'm actually like a really nice guy. And you're like, oh darn, well I don't want to see you anymore. And and then eventually you'd meet a girl and she'd be like, oh, you are a nice guy. That's great. Like come meet my parents. And you know, most of the time you just spend like trying to figure out where the ladies were, you know, like just drive around because nobody had cell phones. So you just drive from place to place, and usually they were at the mall, you know, and then And then after that, once you're old enough to go to bars and stuff, you could
The nightclubs.
meet girls at the bars and diners and things like that where people were hanging out at night. But if they were there, like you just assume they were there to meet people, like that. That's why they're there. Why else would you be there?
Yeah.
you know. But now it's like everybody can interact with each other all the time, no matter what, in any context, and nobody knows how to relate to each other, and the girls are just kind of just looking for the top 10% of attractive dudes, and that's it. And then they just get attacked. They just get taken advantage of by them.
I think they're looking for even like a lower percentage than that.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because
I was being kind.
right. Well, it's because they're. I mean, well, again, Michael Foster. He was talking about this on Facebook how he's been he's been asking all sorts of questions of people and like gathering his data. That's like data, but he's noticed that, and I think it's generally true, that women want, like, they seem to, I mean, in a way that's somewhat appropriate, but not necessarily appropriate to our day and age. They're looking for the guy that's the top 1% of what there is. Because they're looking for the guy that's over 6 feet tall. It is the Channing Tatum, the Tom Cruise, like that's who they're looking for. But they might not be even remotely close to even, to breaking even there. And so the guys that are breaking even with them are way below them in the astronomical standards that they set.
Oh, right.
And this is in the church that he's noticing this.
Yeah.
And there's women that are, there's no good men. And it's like, there's like 15 right here.
Yeah.
And the problem is you just won't give them the time of day because they're not Channing Tatum. Like that's the only reason that you won't do this. Is because they're not over 6 feet tall. Like that's why you're not doing it. That's all it is. and you think that they have to be, or else there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, that's take it from two people that are under 6 feet tall.
Short guy gang.
That's a much bigger problem than most people who are over 6 feet tall. You guys take it for granted. It is a huge issue. It means if you're over 6 feet 2, you make more money.
For some reason.
You just do.
I think it's because they just have naturally a more domineering presence. Because they're tall.
And then they can just demand more money.
They could be the shrimpiest guy, but they're tall, and so they're kind of scary if you're not that tall. If they're taller than you and you have to look up at them, there's something natural that makes you go, that makes you go, all right, I'm going to give this guy some more money so he stays away.
In my experience, I've been in a lot of fights. Big guys don't fight. Big guys can't fight most of the time. They're usually pretty passive because
they can't reach you if you go for the ankles.
No, because they are generally they don't get in fights. So usually the size is enough to put people off from fighting them. So they don't get in a lot of fights. So
I think we just solved small dog syndrome.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah, I mean, like, usually most guys that are like short and scrappy, like they're gonna hurt you. You might beat them up, but you're gonna remember it. So
the goal of the short guy in a fight isn't to win.
No.
It's to make you wish you had chose someone else.
Just make them. I call it the Joe Pesci syndrome. So it's like Joe Pesci is not scary because he's big. Joe Pesci is scary because he would. Right? Whatever it is you think he's gonna do, whatever he says he's gonna be doing, he will do it. Yeah. If he says he's gonna shoot you, he will shoot you. Like it's not like a threat. It's not like empty threats. It's gonna happen. So that's what makes him scary. But anyway, so the the building blocks of a man. We talked about the man needs a goal. I would say like that the man needs an adventure, right? He needs a quest to go on. I've been watching all these Crusader videos and stuff. So like everything's gonna deal with Crusaders right now. So
he needs a pope to give him a ticket to heaven.
yes, he needs his adventure to go on, and he needs a helper at his side. He needs that woman with him on this journey. He needs responsibilities. He needs those responsibilities. He needs to be selflessly caring for those responsibilities because, like you said, he's the gardener, right? The responsibility. So he's got a goal and a quest, but he's also got a garden. He's got a thing that he needs to tend to, right? And he needs to lead. Like he needs to. We talked about the patriarchy. He's got to know what his role is in this structure. He's got to know how he fits in that. So much of the complementarianism and the egalitarianism, which is the worst thing ever, like those systems muddied everything up to the point where men, especially men in the church, don't even understand where it is that they fit in any organizational structure at all. To the basic building block of just the family. They don't understand what it is. Like you hear women talk about like, oh, I've actually, I've got 3 kids, but I really have 4. Why? Why do you say that? Like, because I have to pick his clothes up and do his laundry and feed him from time to time. It's like, yeah, how does that make him your child? Like, what are you saying? Like the duties that you're expected to fulfill of that all women have been doing since the dawn of time. So now your husband's a child? Is that really what you're saying? So you get to be a fully fledged woman because you meet the bare minimum requirements of a wife and a mother. But he, maybe he's even meeting the bare minimum requirements as a husband and father too. But you get to talk to him like he's a little boy. It's just like it's an entirely cruel way of treating somebody when, like, for the most part, I would say in a lot of families, neither side between men and women are meeting those expectations because they're not fulfilling the roles that God has put on them. Those burdens and responsibilities that have been put on them. Because, and I like saying it as burdens too, because like I remember there was a young lady that came into our church at back at Riverstone, and she was asking me about like, well, is there like, are there female pastors here or anything like that? Because I'm going to school and I want to be a pastor and everything. So I was like, well, no, there's not. We don't believe in that, and we don't believe that women should be elders or pastors. She's like, oh, why is that? Why do you think that? And I said, because that burden hasn't been given to women. And when she kind of thought about it, like I was like think about it like it's a burden. Like this is a responsibility that's
not a fun thing.
No, it's not like, oh, yay, I get to do this work and be the head, of my family. It's like
I can tell you, as I'm pursuing pastoral ministry, it's not fun.
Yeah.
As someone who just went through a summer internship and did not nearly that much ministry, but did enough, it's not fun. I mean, it's fun in some respects. It's fun when you go, wow, that thing I said made an impact on somebody and they remembered it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like, it's the best thing in the world, especially when it's a teenager that you don't expect to remember that. But like, it's not fun most of the time. Like, you gotta actually sit down and do stuff. Like, you gotta think things through in a way.
There's a lot of joy in it, even especially with like raising a family. There's a lot of joy in all of that also, but it's a duty. Like what you're doing is you're doing it because it's your duty to do it.
Right.
So like, oh, I
I
get
think
to do
duty's a
this.
better term than
Right.
burden.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
burden
that's
makes it sound like it's a bad thing,
right.
whereas duty is
I was trying to put off a feminist from pursuing
right.
ministry. So yeah, well, Tolkien would probably say, like he talked a lot about duty, like that's what like made all those characters interesting because the like,
Right.
when you were on the good characters understood their duty, and the evil characters were like trying to, go outside of what their duty was and kind of mess with the whole hierarchy of the world, and so it's like my duty as a husband is to do these certain things, and like that's why I'm doing them. I'm not doing them because like I want to do them.
Right.
It's my duty to do this. I was talking to my wife a while ago. We were having some issue, and like the common thing that women will say is like, I don't want you to fix my problems. I just want you to listen to me. And I said, but it's my duty to do that. Like you're presenting me with a problem. I have to rescue you from that problem. Like that's my duty. So if you have an issue and you're bringing it to me, then my duty is to rectify and solve that problem. Whatever it is that ails you, my duty is to care for you and to rescue you, right? I have to rescue you from that tower. That's my duty. Now, I don't want to go fight a dragon. I have to go do it because it's my duty to do so, right? So it's not like, oh, well, men
It's
just
like
want to
in
fix
your
anything.
nature.
Yeah, is it right? But more so than just my, because I've heard other Christian teachers talk about like how it's like, well, it's in her nature to just be listened to, and it's your nature you want to fix things. So you just gotta listen. It's like, well, yeah, I guess there's a time for that, but that's not part of my duty.
Yeah, I mean that kind of thing bothers me too, but that bothers me solely because I don't think I don't think American evangelicals understand what it means when you say something is your nature. 'Cause
Right.
I think that they think nature. They think, oh, I understand sin nature, and so sin nature is my nature is I do something wrong.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
they think if something is in your nature, there's a tendency to say either look, it's just the way I am, but that's exactly the problem is they go it's the way I am, and that always means the way you are is there's something wrong with
Right.
the way you are.
Yeah. Or it's an excuse for
Right,
something
right, and
wrong
it's an
you're
excuse
doing,
for something wrong. And if there's something in your nature, it could be wrong because you're sinful as part of creation that's fallen. But nature isn't like your nature isn't necessarily wrong. Your nature is, I mean, it's what makes you you. And so it's not wrong for you to be a man,
Right.
and for your nature as a man to be I need to fix this. It would be wrong for you to as a man say I need to fix everything without paying any attention.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that would like I'm gonna fix this and ignore what she's trying to say to me.
Right,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
would be the problem.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of I don't know. It just bothers me when people just try to use nature as this like oh it's bad. And it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I think modern evangelicals need to read more philosophy and it would fix that problem. But
You just need to read more, period.
that's true.
right.
Particularly their Bibles.
So we're at an hour here. Final thoughts? No final thoughts? Okay. So I would just like to say to any young guys, on that journey to becoming a man, especially considering all the societal issues that are going on right now, whatever it is that you're doing, I would say part of your goal in life, whatever your career goal might be, part of your goal in life should include finding a wife, leading that wife, raising children, and all to honor and glory of God. All those things put together makes you a man. The pursuit of those things and also the fulfillment of those things is what is gonna make you a man. Obviously, like, not everybody's gonna have the capability of, like, being a warrior, or any kind of like machismo kind of thing like that. But every man, regardless of your physical capabilities, ought to be able to do those things. Finding a woman, raising that woman, having kids, raising those kids, tending that garden, and protecting all of that as well. Those are the things that I think, taking those duties on, and fully embracing those duties and making those things the aspects of your life that are what's really important, not chasing after skirts and playing video games and just indulging yourself into entertainment all the time. Like, sorry, like that's not for you. If you want to be a boy your whole life, then go ahead and just play video games. You can be a boy your whole life. But if you want to, raise generations that are going to have an impact on the world, then you're going to have to knock some of that nonsense out and focus more of your efforts toward things that are going to make you a man. All right. Let's say goodbye to everybody. Say goodbye, Noah.
Bye.